It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. As the open said, it's Tuesday, which means it's time for Falcon Focus. Episode number 16 here in season number 3, and our 4th episode here in semester number 2. And on this week's edition, in segment number 2, we focus on men's volleyball. They'll be back here inside the John Book Fieldhouse on Wednesday. They serve up set 1 of the best of 5 at 7 p.m. against the Rockford University Regents, and we'll be joined by junior middle hitter Andy Ellingham. But at first, we talk acrobatics and tumbling, and being joined by another junior, a base on the acrobatics and tumbling team, that being Jesse Alexander. The acro and tumbling team getting their 8th season started on Saturday and coming through with a victory here inside the John Book Fieldhouse in knocking off Trine. Jesse, thanks a lot for your time here on this Tuesday. Let's talk about that victory, though, against Trine on Saturday, coming through with 232.795 points, Trine with 223 and 160. Your thoughts on the way things went on Saturday for the team?
Yeah, I thought the meet went really well. There's definitely things we can improve on, some areas for us to springboard off of going into our second performance this weekend. So I'm really looking forward to building upon it, but it was a great start to have a win in our home field,
How about for you personally? How do you think things went on Saturday?
I think I did all right. I went out there, took care of what I needed to do, but I think there's definitely areas that I want to improve and, always striving to be better.
When you look at the various events, in your opinion, what were the stronger areas for this team?
I think we really hit it home in the pyramid event. That's really something that we always, strive for success in, and we also did really well in the toss events.
How about the team event? That's always a fun event to wrap up the whole day. How did that go?
I think our team event could have gone better. In all honesty, I think we hold ourselves to a high standard, and meeting that can sometimes be a little difficult. But I definitely think we can improve on it. We're going to get into practice and work really hard. So I think it was a good starting point, but it's time to go up.
When you look at the team event, how much fun, how challenging is that event, considering that there's so many people all trying to get in sync, in rhythm? The timing's got to be just right.
Yeah, a lot of fun. It is very difficult, though. I think a lot of people on the team will agree that this is like our hardest event to do because you're doing so many things back to back to back. You have little breathing time, you have things to focus on, you have other people to watch around you. So it's a lot of fun when it's done right, but it is a lot of difficult. It's very difficult to do. So.
Oh, I bet. But it's so much fun to watch, and from a spectator standpoint, it's just amazing to see all the athletes in sync and in rhythm and put it all together to wrap up the day that is. Now, you look at the opportunity to compete again in front of the fans here inside the John Book Fieldhouse, and like most athletes, I'm sure there were butterflies. Were you nervous at all getting back out there and, first time here in 2022 competing in front of the home crowd?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely parts of the meet where my nerves will go up and down depending on what we're doing. So if it's something I'm really comfortable going in, I'll focus on getting my teammates ready, focus on everyone getting their minds right. But there's times where I got to take a step back and get my mind right. So it really goes up and down throughout the meet.
When you look at the current acrobatics and tumbling roster, you guys lost some very talented seniors from last year's squad. But, you look at this roster on paper, it's a squad that does have some nice experience back, but also a number of new faces. Would you consider this an experienced team, or is there a nice blend between experience and youth?
I think we have a nice blend between experience and youth because we have so many new faces coming in, but they are so talented that you might as well just consider them experienced. Like they came in and they are tackling everything they ask of them. Coaches ask them to do something new and they're right there ready to go. So it's great to have a blend of both, but I do think we're a pretty youthful team and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and it's exciting to hear you say, the freshmen or the newcomers are, ready to take on a new challenge because I think, and something we'll get into as we go along, there is no acrobatics and tumbling at the high school level. So for so many of these athletes, this whole experience is new, but they have, different backgrounds, cheerleading, gymnastics that they can, fall back on. But it's still, it's an adjustment period. And obviously getting the first opportunity to compete before a crowd on Saturday, all part of the adjustment. And hopefully, where the team is now, come April, will be a different looking, finish to the season. But 5 freshmen, couple of newcomers that have come from other sports that have also joined the team. How have, in your opinion, overall, the new athletes fit in?
I think the new athletes fit in really well because to be honest, everyone's new when they come to acrobatics and tumbling. So there's always that learning curve that everyone goes through, but they've handled it really well. And even if you're coming from a different sport, one thing I really like is that our coaches pride themselves on making sure everyone gets acclimated accordingly as the season starts. So it's really great. We're all at the same level now, and it's nice to have all those new people get up to speed really quickly.
One thing that blows my mind, and bless you guys for this, is, and we've talked about it many times, the early morning practices. Now, you get occasional evening practice or two, but I mean, you're typically practicing. I don't know if you practice this morning or not, but I know typically you do before the sun even rises. What is the energy level like? Where do you guys find that energy in the morning to compete at such a high level in practice?
Yeah. Oh, there's days we find it, there's days we don't. But I think something that really helps us is getting our music going in the morning. Like, we get in here, we get it bumping, we try to make sure everyone's dancing, everyone's going well. Also, a good warm up really will set you're on your way for the entire day. And a lot of people don't mind the early practices. I mean, you come in, you get your work done, you can focus on the rest of your day. You don't have practice hanging over your head for the rest of the day. So it's nice to get it out.
Is it hard for you, though, some days to not hit the snooze button and actually get up and get going? Or are you at this point now, it's such a routine that, that alarm goes off, you're up and ready to go?
Yeah, I actually give myself time in the mornings to sit in my bed and not do anything because I know if I don't, I will. So I got to schedule it in.
Mentioned from a position standpoint, you're a base. And again, for those that may be new to acrobatics and tumbling, which is, again, back for its 8th season now on the Concordia campus, what does that role entail, and has your role changed at all in your time as a Falcon?
Yeah, I think roles are always changing and evolving. Coaches will really throw any athlete into where they think they will be successful because you never know where you'll be successful until you try. So I've been all around in all positions. I've been a mid, I've been a base. They've tried to make me as a top, but I'm much better on the ground. So that's where I stay mostly.
So do you prefer base or do you prefer a different area?
I prefer basing. That's definitely my area of expertise when both of my feet are on the ground and I can stand.
Well, as we mentioned, there is no such thing as acrobatics and tumbling at the high school level. Perhaps that's something that we will see, evolve in the future as it continues to take off here at the collegiate level. But how about for you at the high school level, even maybe before? What is your athletic background?
So I've actually got a pretty wild athletic background.
That's what I understand. So I'm curious. I've not been told what it is, so I cannot wait to hear what it is.
Yeah, so I did MMA and boxing for a little bit.
No
and
kidding.
Then I was on my school's varsity wrestling team for 2 years. And then that's when I started becoming a cheerleader. So I would go from wrestling practice or a wrestling meet and then go into the bathroom, put a bow in my hair, and run to practice. So, yeah, but all throughout high school, I mainly just worked on my tumbling, and I was a competitive cheerleader all around the nation. So, yeah.
I'm pretty excited because, the last few weeks, and I've mentioned it last week too, we've had a speed skater on this program. We've talked about somebody that competed in rodeo. Now we have MMA, boxing, we have wrestling, all in one right here besides cheerleading. So let's talk about MMA and boxing, how you got involved, what attracted you to those sports.
So I have an older brother, and you always get rough with your siblings. So there was always times where I was like, man, I want to be able to just knock him out cold.
Sure.
But not literally because I love him so much. But, yeah, there was always that aspect of that fight and fire in it that I really admired, just going out there and really just doing what you can, It's just very one-on-one. So that's what I liked about the sports.
How about from a wrestling perspective? What led you that direction? And did you have girls wrestling offered, or was it co-ed? How did that work?
So there were other girls on my team, but I never wrestled a girl when I competed. So unfortunately, no, I didn't get that division, and that's part of the reason why I actually ended up stopping that career of mine because I couldn't keep up with all the boys and getting they would just put on muscle a lot quicker than I could. But I did what I could. And getting into that was really just me and my friend wanting to try something completely different and new.
That's different.
Yeah,
Good for you.
We went into it together, and we actually ended up pulling a couple more girls onto the team. So we had a pretty good amount of girls on our wrestling team. So it was pretty crazy to see.
Well, I know there's talk, and I know it's been delayed because of the pandemic, but women's wrestling will be added to Concordia. If you're still here, is that something that you might gravitate toward, or is that part of your life completely over with?
I've thought about it. And I guess it depends on when it comes, because it would be something I would like to, maybe get back into, see where my skills are at now. But definitely acro will take the cake if I have to choose between the two.
Well, as you mentioned, okay, so you go from one extreme, if you will, to another. Cheerleading, all of a sudden you go from the mats to cheerleading. How did that come about?
Well, it honestly came about from wrestling. There were a lot of the boys who would just throw different skills around. Some of them would just throw front flips, some of them would throw back flips, and I was like, man, I want to learn how to do that too. So I ended up taking a tumbling class, and I fell in love with tumbling. So I started tumbling for a little bit, and then I eventually went on to joining a team, because at my tumbling practices, I would see the girls around me throwing people in the air and doing flips afterwards, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I think I want to give it a try. So yeah.
After high school, was there any thought, at least at that point, that you would go athletically at the collegiate level in some way, some shape or form, some sport, or did this acrobatics and tumbling opportunities come out of nowhere?
Well, it's actually kind of crazy. I met Sarah first when I was a sophomore in high school
Okay.
at one of my cheerleading competitions down in Florida. It was a crazy turn of events of how I met
kidding.
her. So that day she handed me a pamphlet, and ever since then I held on to it all the way through the end of high school. And when it was time to pick out a college, I was like, you know what, I've got this pamphlet about acrobatics and tumbling, and I think it's crazy. It's something I want to try. So I did, and here I am.
Did it take some getting used to once you were out there on the mat competing in acrobatics and tumbling?
Definitely. It's a lot more kind of serious and more based on the athletics than cheerleading is. Whereas cheerleading, I was a lot more used to performing and having a smile on my face. Whereas in acro, you can wear your hair how you want. You can have no makeup on. You can have makeup on, and you just go out there, show your athleticism, and get the job done. So that was a little bit of a change for me, but I prefer it.
Now, something I've mentioned many times, and I'll say it again right here, that I'm instantly drawn to when watching acrobatics and tumbling is the energy level. You mentioned some of the intensity, but the positivity as well. I mean, it's a group that is easy to cheer for. You guys are an easy team to cheer for and get behind. What is it about the sport that you love?
I really like the camaraderie on the team. I think it's great to have teammates that support me on and off the mat. I mean, you said you could see it, and
Oh,
it's really
absolutely can.
it's a community of girls who come together for a common goal, and there's nothing better than that. So.
And I know Jeremy Crawford and I have been to a couple of those 6 a.m. practices. The energy level's there as well, plus the positivity at 6 a.m. while the rest of us are dragging our feet. What's the most challenging aspect for you in acrobatics and tumbling?
I think for me, it's definitely the mental aspects of it. It's the, can I do this? I fell on this the last time. Can I do it again? But you got to overcome that and let yourself know that I can do it, I will do it, and I'm going to do it. So you got to have those positive thoughts.
And speaking of challenging, how about your first 2 seasons? Challenging in the sense that, okay, year 1 got cut short by the pandemic. All of a sudden you guys competed here, and that night, all of a sudden the season's over, or at least was paused at first, and then eventually the rest of it was canceled. Last season, it was, especially at the beginning, it was kind of pump the brakes here and there with meets being postponed or canceled. You eventually end up finishing 4-1. Your thoughts on how you've been able to get through these first couple of seasons? How have you guys been able to kind of keep your head above water with all of the uncertainty that the seasons have brought with the pandemic?
Yeah, there is a lot of uncertainty, and it does kind of suck sometimes. But one thing I can really rely on is always having my coach there and giving us a certainty of something. Like, hey, if we're not having a meet, we can still push for this at the end of the year. Like, if we're not having a meet, we can still push for these skills to have coming into the next season. So it's really great that she gives us that reassurance and that motivation to keep working.
It's exciting, too, when you look at the schedule here this winter and the spring. At least for acrobatics and tumbling, it's all Division III competition, which is different from years past. So it's an opportunity to kind of see where you're at as far as, similar competition goes at the Division III level. And I mentioned Trine was the opponent this past Saturday here inside the John Book Fieldhouse. Team will next be in action on Sunday at Adrian. And then next time here at home will also be against Adrian at 1 o'clock. Mark your calendars now. You won't want to miss it, coming up on the 26th of March. But as far as you go, as far as the team goes, what goals do you have for this season as you continue to improve after what was, again, a remarkable year last year going 4-1?
Yeah, I think I really want the team to go out there and set a lot of personal bests for us. Like, our biggest competition is ourselves each and every time, each and every season that we have. Like, I really want us to go out there and prove something to ourselves. Like, get your skills better. If you have a tumbling pass, get that pass up, If you're working on something, get that skill and then go compete it, So that's really where I want to see our team at.
And finally, to piggyback off that a little bit, as mentioned, the team will be in action coming up on Sunday at Adrian. And Adrian's kind of been a rival based on, they've been around just about as long as Concordia has, if not slightly longer. Based on proximity, it's one of the closer rivals, at least in acrobatics and tumbling. And when you look at the history, you guys have competed against Adrian more than anybody else. 9 victories and 3 defeats all time against the Bulldogs. Just, taking it from one event or one meet to the next, what improvements would you like to see, whether it be yourself and or the team, make from trying now to Adrian come Sunday?
On last Saturday, we had a couple falls here and there, so I really want to see us go out on Sunday, actually. It is Sunday. I really want to see us go out on Sunday and clean those up and really work on perfecting our skills, keeping them in the air, and really keeping the energy up, too. So I think that'll be great of a goal.
Jesse, I appreciate your time. All the best here this season. And, again, we look forward to cheering you on here on March the 26th when Adrian is in town for a 1 o'clock start here inside the John Book Fields. But, again, all the best to you and the team here this season.
Thank you so much.
That's Jesse Alexander of Acrobatics and Tumbling. When we come back, our focus switches to men's volleyball as they get ready for their matchup against the Rockford Regents on Wednesday here at 7. We'll talk with junior middle hitter Andy Ellingham. Stay tuned. You're tuned in to Falcon Focus here on the Falcon Athletic Network.
Since 1978, Lutheran Church Extension Fund has had the humble privilege of supporting the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in fulfilling its mission of sharing the gospel.
Thanks to our faithful investors, we provided thousands of church workers, congregations, schools, and organizations with the resources they need to reach more people with the saving name of Christ. It's what we do.
Because our greatest joy comes from seeing LCMS Ministries and her workers thrive, we will continue to make precious resources available, both today and far into the future. It's our promise to you.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund. We want to be part of your great and exciting work.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Falcon Focus, episode number 16 here in season number 3, as we switch our focus to men's volleyball, being joined by junior middle hitter Andy Ellingham. My name is Matt Menzel. Men's volleyball will be in action back here inside the John Book Fieldhouse on Wednesday, 7 o'clock, against the Rockford University Regents in conference play. Andy, thanks for your time on this Tuesday. Right now, the men's volleyball team sits with 3 victories, 4 defeats, some great non-conference competition, already having been playing the first now 7 matches. How would you summarize the way the season's gone to date?
I'd say that 3-4 record doesn't look great on paper, but we've been playing a lot of great teams, bringing in Carthage to the Book, playing Menlo, UC Santa Cruz out in Cali. I think we've been really competitive, and I'm looking forward to where we're going to go forward in the season. Obviously, getting into conference play, we've got some great teams in the conference too, and I think we've got a lot of chance to make some waves this year. We'll talk more about the conference. It really is, as you mentioned, on an annual basis, a who's who in the ANAC. But conference play got started for the Falcons on Friday, knocking off Concordia Chicago down in River Forest, Illinois, 3-1. In your opinion, what was the difference in that match? I think we came out really strong, played really well. The 1-set loss wasn't amazing, but I think looking forward, cleaning up some of the small errors. I think we played really well, really clean volleyball, and that was probably the difference. How difficult is it? It sounds like it wouldn't be, but sometimes it can be. From an athletic standpoint, you go up 2-0. Sometimes it's easy to let the guard down, going, "Oh, we got this. It's in the bag."
but that's when a team can sneak up and steal a set or two from you and make it an interesting matchup. How difficult sometimes is it to stay focused in the moment if you take care of business quickly in the first two sets?
It can be a little difficult. I think in the first two sets it was 25-18, 25-14 or something along those lines. And when you've got a big margin of victory, it can sometimes be a little hard to keep your foot on the gas. But that's just something we're working through right now and just really putting the pedal to the metal.
Now, on Friday, you hit 667 and 6 kills, 9 swings, 6 digs, a block solo, 4 block assists. You contributed 9 points in that victory over the Cougars. Were you pleased with your performance individually?
Yeah, I think so. Hitting efficiently is something that I always strive to do. As a middle hitter, you don't get a ton of balls. So what you get, you really want to do the best you can with it. And then block assists, solo blocks. I had a lot of help from the pins too. Team effort, but at the same time, yeah, I was happy with my performance.
As mentioned, this being your junior season, how have you grown as a collegiate volleyball athlete in your time at Concordia? How has your role changed in that time here with the Falcons?
I think as the years have passed here at Concordia for me, I've turned more into a leader. It's a younger program, so coming in, I was trying to make a big impact. It was an adjustment to me getting into the college landscape. Had to be a little bit smarter with my play, work a little more with just everything that's thrown at me. The game gets faster, got to adapt to that, but then also just learning for myself to become more of a vocal leader because I'm more of a quiet person, but at the same time, I'm trying to find my way into that.
You talk about being more of a vocal leader. Are there other aspects of your game that you've really been focusing on, maybe from the offseason going into this season?
Yeah, one of mine was serving. Coming into college, I was trying to get into a jump serve a little bit. It wasn't very accurate, but in the past 2 seasons, especially last year, got in the gym pretty much every day, getting some reps, just serving the ball. It's something you can do with nobody else. You just serve a net and you just serve for 20, 30 minutes, and that really helped me refine my skills and get a lot more accurate, and I think that that's paid off.
What goals do you have for yourself, for the team here this season?
I think for me personally, it's just continuing to hit efficiently every night as best as I can, get some blocks, help the team out. As a team, we've got some big goals. We want to finish well in conference. Winning conference would be awesome. Getting an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament would be awesome. If not, it's just going out every night and fighting as hard as we can. We've got some tough teams. Dominican on Friday, they're a top-ranked team in the nation, but at the same time, if we can come in, play some clean volleyball, play some aggressive volleyball, I think we have a chance to win.
We'll talk more about that matchup, not only with Rockford tomorrow, but also Dominican on Friday, just a little bit. But you guys in late January got the opportunity, you touched on this a little bit with some of the good non-conference competition, but went out to California, and if it wasn't a COVID season, it might look a little different, the trip that is, but overall, still a great opportunity, great experience to go out to the Golden State and get an opportunity to play, as mentioned, among others, UC Santa Cruz, able to knock off that program in 5 sets in one of the matchups. Overall, how was the trip?
I think volleyball-wise, it was great to get out there, see some different teams. We played UC Santa Cruz last year, and that was a fun matchup. But getting to go out into their gym, playing in the Golden State Warriors G League Arena was awesome. Playing Menlo, they're a really good program out there, and that was a lot of fun. And then off of that, me going to California was really fun too. I had never been out there before. Some people call me Cali Boy because I look like I'm from California.
That's a good nickname.
So I felt like I was more in my element, I guess.
So volleyball or unvolleyball related, what was your favorite part of the trip?
Let's see. I guess volleyball related, getting the win was awesome. Non-volleyball related, I liked going down to the beach. We spent a lot of time out there. It was great scenery, getting my feet in the sand in the ocean, even though the ocean was really cold. But yeah, it was.
What was the temperature?
It was beautiful. I think it was 70 degrees every day, maybe high 60s down at night, maybe high 50s. Yeah.
Well, the team heads to Boston next month. Are you looking forward to that trip?
I am. It'll be a little bit colder out there, but
yeah, that's a little bit different.
We got some great teams that are going to play out there too.
So if Coach Matson came to you and said, hey, you could pick one state we can play any volleyball match in, is there a state that you would like to visit that you haven't, or that you have and you'd like to go back to?
Well, I'd love to go back to Cali. I'm a warm climate person, so in this time of year, staying out of the upper East Coast probably wouldn't be amazing. But I think there's some great teams down in like the Carolinas. I think that'd be fun to play there.
It might be nice weather as well. Now you mentioned, okay, and we've talked about the good competition already. The Falcons have played, especially out in California. No question, this is a team that gets battle tested regularly, just in conference play alone, and at any one time, 3 or 4 schools are either ranked or receiving votes in the national rankings. What's it like to face such good competition? How does those opportunities, those experiences better this team just in conference play alone?
I think it's a really great opportunity to just kind of go out and play as hard as you can every night. Earlier in the program, you're not getting a bunch of wins. That can be a little tough, but after that, we're seeing that all of those tough matches are really helping us grow as a program. We're starting to, even with that, we're starting to get recruits we're bringing into the gym. We're being competitive every day, and we're just pushing ourselves, and then we know that standard that we have to achieve.
You almost stole the next question right off my sheet, talking about how this is a program that's only in its 5th season of existence. But again, in your time here, to kind of further that point, how have you seen this program take steps to grow and continue to improve and to try to become one of those elite programs like some of the other more established men's volleyball teams?
I think, my freshman year, I believe, was our first winning season as a program. So that was a great achievement. But even then, since then, we've gotten way more competitive in the gym. We've added some great recruits. Last year, we got our first playoff win ever. We're making the changes that we have to as a program, and I think we're really making strides to achieve a lot in the next coming couple of years.
Let's talk about that first postseason victory last season. Opportunity, first of all, for the program to make the NAC tournament for the second time ever, but able to win the quarterfinal matchup against MSOE. What do you remember about that win against the Raiders? How exciting was that moment?
Oh, it was so exciting. And really, it was just a battle all night. I think we went out and took the first set, and then it was just back and forth. We had a lot of great play. Everybody played really well. Personally, I remember I went back to serve right at the end of the 5th set, and I served us out. I had a lot of great help from now graduated Blake Schwant. We had some great pickups, a lot of just scrappy play, and it was awesome to just be a part of that for this program.
And the Falcons have had a couple of nice big wins against MSOE in the short history of this program. You look at last season, and I know we've talked about this on other programs here on Falcon Focus, but it was unique in the sense that, like, other sports, you didn't know maybe one match to the next if a match would be played thanks to the pandemic, and senior night was one of those that got canceled, if you will, and ended up becoming a inter-squad matchup. But how much fun was that to be a part of? It could have been a disaster in the sense that there's no match, and all of a sudden this became a larger-than-life event, which included a draft in which teams got picked. I mean, they made the efforts to make this thing special, and it truly was.
Yeah, it was great. It stunk that we had the match get canceled, but Coach Madsen was really just on the ball, thinking, just came up with this idea. It was a ton of fun. A lot of us had really no idea what was going to be happening, but we got called into a meeting. We were like, all right, we're going to do this draft. That was cool to just do and film and put up. And then on top of that, we play each other every day in practice.
Sure.
But that just it felt a little different, and it was a ton of fun to just play against the guys you've been playing against all year, but just in a different light.
I would not be doing my job if I didn't ask you about one of your former teammates who's behind the scenes, and Josh Dinkelman, who's now the Assistant Director of Athletic Communications, and he's behind the scenes, and he does not have permission to edit anything you say, so feel free to say whatever you want. He will not change this because Jeremy Crawford will fire him if he does. But what was it like to have Josh as a teammate? And do you have any good stories you can maybe share in your couple of years having Dink as a teammate?
I mean, Dink was just a great guy. Shout out to you, Dink. But
are you just saying that, or it's?
No, he was a great teammate.
Okay.
Really just giving it all every day, giving his all every day. Being a really great,
Sure.
just there for everybody. We brought in Spencer Herman last year. He's our outside, and every day it was Josh's mission to tool Spencer's block, just as much as he could. That was a battle all year, and I thought it was just funny to watch. Obviously I was part of some of those blocks.
Sure.
But it was, he made Spencer a better player, and that I think was awesome.
Josh, I think the check's in the mail. Yep. No, but in all seriousness, no, his energy though second to none, and certainly a great team guy, and we're lucky to have him now behind the scenes here. And speaking of Spencer Herman, what's it like to play alongside guys like Spencer Herman, James Altoff, guys that just from an offensive standpoint get it done?
It's awesome because those are guys you can just rely on. If the set's not there, you can throw the ball out to the pass isn't there, you can throw the ball out to them, and you know that they're going to do something to better the ball. And then they're just the guys that can take care of business when it needs to happen. Personally, it's throwing the ball to them means I'm not getting set, but at the same time, they run at a really high success rate, and they're just awesome guys to have on the court.
And you look at this roster, and among an experienced lineup, it's a team that includes 7 freshmen. How have the newcomers thus far been fitting in?
They've been fitting in really well. They've taken a lot of the system work and how we kind of do things, and they've really adopted that. They're working hard in the gym. In the preseason, they were getting in the weight room, pushing themselves, out in conditioning. In the fall season, I really think that they've done an amazing job just kind of coming into the program and making it a lot better.
I want to go back in time a little bit. We talk about freshmen. It wasn't that long ago you were a freshman. You came here from Burlington High School. That's a high school especially known for volleyball. The girls' team seems like every year is competing, if not winning a state championship. The boys' team is winning conference championships right there, knocking on the door to qualify for state. What was it like to be a Demon, be at Burlington High School? That is such a hotbed when it comes to volleyball.
Yeah. I originally had actually gotten into volleyball because I thought it was a good way for me to stay in shape for baseball.
Okay.
And then I fell in love with the sport, stopped playing baseball. I feel like
that was in high school.
Yeah, that was in high school. I think that we had a couple of coaching changes at Burlington, but I think my class and the couple classes around me were really around the revitalization of just the boys volleyball sport at Burlington High School, and I think it's awesome to have been a part of being able to see that program grow again. In the past, Tim Gessland, who was the coach, I want to say about 10 years ago now, took a team to state, and they were runners-up. Since then, they've been competing to go to state every year, winning some conference championships, and it was awesome to be a part of that.
So what aspect of the sport, or maybe a couple aspects of the sport, was it that for you it became a labor of love and, ultimately led you to change sports from baseball to men's volleyball?
I don't know if I can exactly put my finger on it. Just being able to go up and hit the ball hard was pretty fun. Being where it was more of a team sport. Baseball is obviously a team sport, but when you're up hitting the ball, that you can get in your head a lot mentally, and you can still do that in volleyball, from the service line, stuff like that. But being in a close space where you're really close to all your teammates at once, I think that was awesome for me. Just being close to a group of guys and just that camaraderie around that. On top of that, as I've already said, I'm not a winter guy, so being in the indoors when it's cold out is always the way to go for me.
So was volleyball collegiately always a thought, or did it become a thought at some point late in your high school life?
It became a thought right around my freshman year in winter when I started playing club volleyball. I really hadn't thought too much about playing sports collegiately up to that point. I was kind of young at the time too, but after that season, I'd seen some recruiters walking around from some of the big tournaments that we were at. I was like, I want to do that while I'm in college.
At Concordia, why Concordia?
I think that the education program is great here. I'm part of the Business Scholars program, which is an amazing opportunity for anybody who's going into a business major. The campus is amazing. The tunnels are wonderful. And then just getting to be a part of a growing team was really something that I found a lot of opportunity in. Coming in, I had Coach Madsen was one of my coaches for high performance when I did that in high school, and I liked his coaching style, so I figured, coming here, that's something I was already kind of used to, and I've loved my experience ever since.
Let's wrap it up by previewing the week ahead. As mentioned, the team will be here. You can cheer them on in person inside the John Boot Fieldhouse, 7 o'clock against the Rockford University Regents, a younger program. That's a team that you hit a team record 900 against last March. And then Friday, as mentioned, a matchup against Dominican, a chance for the Falcons to take that next step, looking to defeat the Stars for the first time. Last year they met in a conference tournament semifinal. Just your thoughts on, I guess, the week ahead, taking on a Rockford team and taking on a very good Dominican squad on Friday down there?
I think our mindset as a team is just each match, especially in conference, is as important as the next. Dominican, sure, it might have some weight to it with us going up against them in the conference semifinals next year and them being a really top-ranked team in the country. But Rockford's not a team to shake a fist at. They can come out and upset us, and that's something that we have to work in the gym and work with scouting and stuff like that to make sure that we're coming out and we're playing the best volleyball we can every night.
Well, and you talked about with Concordia, Rockford's in the same boat. They're trying to take those next steps too, so certainly they're hungry to get those conference victories as well. But Andy, appreciate your time here on this Tuesday. All the best this season. We'll be cheering for you tomorrow night.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Andy Ellingham, our guest here for men's volleyball again. John Book Fieldhouse Wednesday. Hope to see you out here 7 o'clock against the Rockford University Regents. That will do for this week's edition of Falcon Focus. Thanks for joining us. We'll do it again next Tuesday right here on the Falcon Athletic Network.